Hey class, it's Mrs. Gooch. Just going to cover what we did in class today. Just as a reminder, our topic is percent of increase and percent of decrease. So remember, we are using some shapes to help us do these problems. On your homework paper, you will see these exact same symbols to help you through this. And so when we read these, we need to be very careful. On your notes, you're missing the 10 and the 25. All right, so it says to find the percent of change, round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So what we do is we take that first number, and that's our original or whole number. And that is going to go into both rectangles. And I started at 10 and I'm going up to 25. I know that's an up to, so I'm going to put a plus sign over my n, and then I'm going to put 25 in my new. That's what I ended at. This is my end number if you forget that. Okay, so now I look at the ratio and I look at the equation. I look at the ratio and it looks like I'm missing two pieces. I'm missing the triangle piece and I'm missing the percent piece. So I can't start with the ratio. So I'm going to start with the equation. I look at the equation and I see that I have 10 plus something will equal 25. I can solve that. I know that 10 plus 15 equals 25. So again, in the triangles, I put the same numbers. Then, when I get up to the ratio, I put in my x with the percentage because I don't know what the percent change is. Now, I use my cross products, and that gives me 10x equals 15 times 100 is 1500. I look at what's happening to my x, and I see that it is being multiplied. So then the opposite is division. So I now know x equals 150, and because I was trying to find my percent, I put in my percent sign. And there is my solution. All right, let's try a couple more. Let's try this one. It reads 120 points to 85 points. I'm starting at 120. So that's going to go in both of my rectangles. I'm going to end up at 85 points. Well, I know 85 is smaller than 120, so I'm going to subtract. Now, I take my calculator and I type in 120 minus 85. And I get out 35. If 35 goes in this triangle, 35 goes in this triangle. Then my variable goes there with the percentage, because again I'm trying to find my percentage. So now I do my cross products. I have 120x equals 35 times 100 is 3500. Now I know that 120 is timesing x, so I do the opposite and I divide by 120. And I type this into my calculator. So I got out of my calculator 29.16666. The sixes are repeating. Now, I always want to go to the hundredths place, so I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to look back at the number behind the hundredths place, which is the thousandths place, and I see that it is a 6. So I remind myself that 0 to 4, I leave it alone. 5 to 9, I plus 1. Or one more. So I add 1 to that 6. So my actual answer is x equals 29.17%. Here's the next problem. I have 8 ounces is increased by 20%. So as I'm looking through this problem, I see that I'm starting with 8 ounces. And it's getting increased by 20%. And I'm looking at this going, Do I start with my ratio or do I start with my equation? I am going to start with my ratio because I am missing only one thing. I'm missing my triangle number. So I'm going to start with my ratio and I'm going to do my cross products. I have 100x equals 20 times 8. That gives me 160. I again know that a number next to a letter means it's multiplication, so I'm going to divide by 100. And I get x equals 1.6. But I'm not done yet. So I just found out what x equals. X is in my triangle. So I need to come down and put 1.6 down in my other triangle. And I take and I look at the words, and it says I'm going to increase. Increase means I'm going to add. So my and now becomes an add sign. So I have 8 plus 1.6, and that's 9.6. And we're talking about ounces, so I need to write OZ. If you don't know the abbreviation for something, write out the whole word ounces. Here's the last example that we are going to do. I will read it carefully. 25 feet decreased by 40%. All right, decrease means I'm going to subtract because I'm going down. 40% goes over my 100. And 25 is my original amount. I'm starting with that. I look at it and I go, where do I need to start? Am I going to start with the ratio or the proportion? The ratio is missing one piece, and the equation is missing two pieces. So I'm going to start with the ratio. Now I'm going to do my cross products. I have x times 100, which gets me 100x equals 40 times 25 gives me 1,000. I know that x is being multiplied by 100, so I'm going to have to divide by 100. So x equals 10. Now I just found my x in my triangle, so in my triangle down here I'm going to write 10. Now I type in my calculator, 25 minus 10 gives me 15. I look back up here and I see that the units are feet. So that's my answer, 15 feet. All right, class, I hope you enjoyed watching.